couple of weeks ago we did a video in an electric car that we hired, and we brought it to here in Bali Hai, and we did a few donuts around there, and it was great. It's not the first time that we featured Bali Hai on the channel. If you remember, we did a video called Side by Side, which took a video from 1994 and compared it to now. And it was on that video that we saw what Bali Hai was like in the 1990s and early 2000s. There was a beautiful beach here, and I used to come every Saturday with my friend John and just sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide rolling away, sit on the dock of the bay, just wasting time. So they took that beautiful beach and they turned it into this Pattaya automatic parking, a revolutionary new car park here at Bali Hai. It was constructed in 2013. Before then, the only pier where you could get a boat to go to Bali Hai and where boats used to come into Pattaya was right where the Pattaya beer garden is now. In fact, I do remember a big American warship being docked there at one time. They then built the pier here at Bali Hai, and there was a lot of people coming here all the time, and there was a car parking problem. Cars parked everywhere, motorbikes. What were they going to do? Well, somebody had a great idea. Let's build a state-of-the-art automatic car park. So the idea was that you would drive your car through here. You did have to tell them how big, how wide your car was. Of course, everybody knows exactly how wide your car is. You used to come through here and then into one of the 6 entrances that are over here. 6 entrances. Inside, it was very, very tight. There were 7 floors of cars, and basically you had a robotic system built in South Korea that used to take your car, automatically take it up and park it. The idea was that after you'd parked your car, gone to Bali Hai, you came to collect it, you came around the back, and it was going to be in one of these loading bays. That's number 3, number 4's here, and so on and so forth. Parking was 30 baht an hour, so if you had a day at Bali Hai, that could possibly be, I don't know, 300-400 baht or so to park your car. So it wasn't cheap, but that wasn't the biggest problem to hit this project. The biggest problem was that it didn't work. I says that it was constructed in 2013. It didn't actually open for any kind of operation until 2016. For 3 years, they tried to get this robotic system to work. They finally did it, but it was operating at about 25% capacity. So you could have parked 170 cars in there. Actually, they're only getting 50. And if you look at the space that this whole thing has took up, you could have parked 50 cars in it anyway. It was a disaster. The company that was set up to run it went bust. It was then bought by another company which was set up by Pattaya, and eventually the whole thing was just forgotten about. And to this day, this project has never ever been 100% operational, and now cars are just parked in the footwell of the building. It really was an example of a public project here in Bali Hai not going to plan. I do remember a couple of years ago there was some fountains. Well, it's like a water feature that was here, where there was like little spurts of water that used to sort of jump from one end to the other. I think it was about here, I'm not 100% sure. And the kids used to play in it during the day, and it was lit up at night and it looked lovely. But Bali Hai, the curse of Bali Hai. People started falling over because the floor was very, very slippy. And also there was a huge increase in mosquitoes here. And so they had to dismantle it and take it down. The curse of Bali Hai again. And you know what? We're going to look around and see if we can find another example of some kind of monstrous infrastructure project here in Bali Hai that went disastrously wrong.
It's behind you.
Sorry?
It's behind you.
Balloon chaser, it's not pantomime, it's behind me. I forgot. The Waterfront condo project. It was going to be 53 stories of a glass-fronted monolith full of penthouse apartments and a luxury hotel. The Waterfront was first conceived in around 2004 and construction began a few years later. But as you can see, it's never been finished. It's really important to point out a couple of things. First of all, I've got a number of friends that actually invested and bought condos within this project. So far, they haven't got any money back. And also, there's an awful lot of urban myths that go on about this project, and there's a lot of outstanding court cases. So we've got to be careful about what we say. But what I can say is this. The construction was stopped when it got to the 53rd floor in 2014. And the reason is behind it. From this angle, you can see why there was a public uproar when the building started getting higher and higher and higher. This is the Royal Thai Navy base here in Pattaya, and this is a statue of Prince Champon Udomsak, who is the father of the Royal Thai Navy. He should be looking out at Pattaya Bay, but of course, he's not anymore. He's looking out at the back of that yet-to-be finished ghost tower. There were several complaints on social media, Facebook and Twitter, and it was finally decided to halt the progress and the construction in 2016. The original plans were investigated at City Hall, and it was found that there were lots of different things that had been changed in the construction. For example, the lift shafts were different, the fire exits were different, and there's lots and lots of talk about land encroachment. There's ongoing court cases about it, and it will all come out in the wash. But the most important thing to know is that since 2016, nothing has took place, no construction at all on this building, except in 2018 when they decided to remove the crane which was on top of the building because they were worried that it was going to collapse. And if that crane was still there, I wouldn't be standing here. In fact, it's been raining this morning, and if you listen very carefully, you can actually hear water still seeping down the sides of the building for nearly, 6-7 years. This untreated building has had that kind of rain and hot sun on it, and pretty soon it's not going to be inhabitable. As late as November 2020, there was a meeting at City Hall, and it was decided that this building would be demolished, and that was the end of it. Of course, it's nearly a year ago now, and it's still here. This monolith still stands, the ghost tower of Pattaya. It was going to be the centrepiece of a brand new redevelopment of this area, which included the Pattaya Marina. When I first came to Pattaya, this area here, just beyond the harbour area there and the beach, which has now been destroyed, but it was over there. This area here was always the home to a lot of boats, and they weren't moored in the sea, they were on land. And this area here, which you can see, which is now a coach park, used to be full of boats. And this area here used to be full of boats. And the engine oil and the mess and the rats and the smell was disgusting. There's been talk for years about building a marina here. From the early 2000s, plans have gone in and plans have gone out. But one time it actually started to get built. And if you can see, it's difficult to see from this perspective, but if you go higher up, you can see that they actually started building a perimeter or a new seawall. And these, let's call them stilts, was where they were going to build platforms, and in between them was where they were going to moor boats. It was going to be luxurious, and it was going to create a lot of money for Pattaya City Hall. Here we are now in 2021, There's a bit of a skateboard park, but still the marina hasn't been built. But there are plans still, 2 years ago, brand new plans to build a marina here. And interestingly, always talk of having cruise ships come in and dock in this area. The idea being that people would get off and it would transform this area. The first place that cruise passengers hit would be Bali Hai, and then obviously they would walk down Walking Street and there would be restaurants, entertainment venues, etc, etc. Of course, it's a plan. There are a lot of people that say that the water isn't actually deep enough to be able to moor a cruise ship here. I'm not an expert on these matters, but you can just see a cruise ship coming in. Whether it will happen in my lifetime is another thing, because the Pattaya Marina has never ever taken off. Ocean Marina, about 5 or 10 kilometers down towards Rayong, is fully developed. It's very luxurious, and all the big boats and yachts moor there instead of here in Pattaya. Despite the curse of Bali Hai, there are still plans to redevelop this area. Even here, the Pattaya sign, look, if you look closely, the Pattaya sign is looking a bit grubby, but there are plans to develop the Pattaya sign, the area here, paint it up, look nice, and also some kind of nature trail, and even a glass walkway. That's one thing I won't be doing. It's such a shame, because Bali Hai, just looking out at this wonderful view, it could have been so much better. Beautiful marina there, that condo building built. Maybe if I'd have left a beach there, it would have been even better. What will happen to Bali Hai? Only time will tell. It's ironic, isn't it, that right here at about 5 p.m. every night, hundreds, possibly thousands of local residents gather for free food handouts that come from Pattaya City Hall and other charities. Right there, we didn't want to come and film them. It's ironic, isn't it, that this is the place where the helicopter of the Prime Minister landed when he came to visit Pattaya to see how we were coping with the spread of the virus COVID-19, and that was over a year ago. Let's hope for better times for Pattaya and here in Bali Hai. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, stick around, give us a like, because there are more videos coming up. Just click them when they come up on the screen now. But for me, Mr. Egg, see you next time. Bye-bye.